Ladies and gentlemen, can I have your attention, please? I'll have to admit, I've never given a speech in a forum like this before.
Welcome.
I'm Glenn Loop. I'm the Executive Director at Cigar Rights of America.
Yeah!
First thing I want to do is praise the planning committee, Danny, Ryan, everybody that pulled this amazing weekend together to make this political statement. You're playing your part in the democratic process, as ugly as that can be sometimes. So I'm going to be a little bit redundant from some of the things I've said the last couple of nights, but it's worthy to say here today and in this forum. In the history of this country, the premium handmade cigar industry has never been treated the way it's being treated right now. 400 years of history. What you're smoking right now is what came out of the ground when Columbus came to the New World, when the founding fathers were on this property. What Winston Churchill smoked, it's absolutely no different. And I know this is going to be prolonged just a little bit, but it's important that everybody understand the context in why we're here. When the President signed the Tobacco Control Act, the Congress that is symbolized by the building that's behind me, never told the FDA to regulate cigars.
Never.
They went clearly beyond congressional intent. And then there were a dozen promises in the Federal Register to regulate cigars. And on April the 15th, 2011, the cigar industry went on offense and filed the original legislation to exempt premium handmade cigars and large cigars from FDA oversight. In the period of time that's happened up until this very week, 289 members of the House of Representatives, symbolized by this side of the building over here, have signed onto that bill in a very, very bipartisan context. As I put it to the Wall Street Journal not long ago, we had the only bill in Congress that had Michelle Bachmann and Charlie Rangel in the same bill, so we must be right.
Yeah. Something's right.
26 members of the Senate, symbolized by this side of the building, have signed onto that bill in a very, very bipartisan context. Democrats, Republicans, we all know that cigars supersede party loyalty, political party ideology. We've got people on the far, far right. We've got folks on the far, far left. We've got politicians right down the middle. We've got politicians on this bill because one cigar shop made a phone call. And that legislation is alive today, and it's got 166 co-sponsors right now in the House, 21 members in the Senate. It's time to bring the bill to a vote.
Yeah! Vote! Vote!
And on April the 19th, the House Appropriations Committee put this bill into an appropriations measure. It's alive today. I feel confident that this side of the Capitol will pass a budget bill, hopefully when they return to work next month. And sometime between the election and the end of the year, hopefully the Senate will. The Senate is going to be an uphill battle, folks. We need every single person who is passionate about cigars in the United States of America to get on our cigarrights.org, fill out their petition to their member of Congress. They will track the yays and the nays. They need to hear your voice. Not only the voices of the people standing behind me, but voices throughout the United States. Those of you listening through social media right now, go to cigarrights.org and fill out that petition. We just topped 100,000 on it since the rule came out.
Yeah.
The rule. The rule.
The rule.
This is 499 pages of bureaucratic gibberish.
Nonsense.
499 pages. 30 pages of this can destroy the premium cigar industry. 30 pages can bring this industry to its knees. Then in response to that, a matter of weeks ago, this lawsuit was filed just over the side of those buildings right over there in DC Circuit Court. So we got two paths to try to fix this. The courts and the Congress behind me.
Congress, act.
It'll be a hell of a lot easier and cheaper.
Yep. Vote them out.
But these two things are the only thing that stand between that courthouse and this Capitol behind us are the only two things that stand between you enjoying the cigars you want and not. It's the only thing that stands between your local cigar shop potentially being in business and not. It's the only thing that stands between you sitting on your back porch enjoying the brand of your choice and not. This has to go away. This has to win. I want to regurgitate some things from last night, but I want to show it to you in writing. I want you to know that we're just not making this stuff up. One that I haven't brought up in the last 2 nights. There was a small cigar factory in Indiana, National Cigar. Made short filler cigars, had a little over 100 employees. We were out in Indiana working an event. We went to visit the folks at National Cigar. This letter from James Pogue, the president of National Cigar, begins with this sentence. Dear Senator Donnelly, and it's written to Senator Joe Donnelly, who's a co-sponsor of our legislation, so he's one of the good ones. But the first sentence in this letter is important for this group to hear and for this audience to hear. Dear Senator Donnelly, my name is James Pogue, and I am the last president of National Cigar Company. After this rule was announced, between the S-chip taxes and the potential burden of this regulation on this company's out of business today. Tampa is the heartbeat of the cigar industry. Ybor City's historic district was built on cigar manufacturing. It's the home of the last surviving cigar factory in America, the J.C. Newman factory. It's the home of the Arturo Fuente cigar headquarters. It's the home of numerous boutique brands up and down 7th Avenue with 1, 2, 3 employees, none of which could afford regulation. The mayor of Tampa, Bob Buckhorn, a friend of the cause, wrote this letter to the administration pleading for an economic impact analysis on Tampa and the regional economy. Davidoff's moved their headquarters to just outside of Tampa. There's large-scale warehouses. There's the boutique manufacturers, the Newman factory I mentioned. And he said, please conduct an economic impact analysis before you advance these regulations. It's gone unanswered.
Why?
The mayor of Miami, no bigger business epicenter for the premium cigar industry than Miami, Florida. No more important place politically right now in this election than Miami, Florida.
Yep.
Every cigar these folks produce come in through the port of Miami. The mayor wrote this letter to the administration saying, please conduct an economic impact analysis on the greater Miami economy before you go forward with these rules. It went unanswered.
Got their tongues.
The mayor of Las Vegas, the home of the IPCPR trade show, not realizing what regulatory impact the rules could have on the trade show being in her city, over a $15 million economic impact, said, please conduct an economic analysis on Las Vegas and all the retail community before you do this. It went unanswered.
There we go.
The Connecticut River Valley, home of the Connecticut broadleaf wrapper, over 100 family farms, many of them passed down from generation to generation. The Connecticut Massachusetts Tobacco Growers Association and the Connecticut Farm Bureau both pleaded with the administration to do an economic analysis on the farmers in Connecticut. It went unanswered. This own administration, this own president's administration, the Small Business Administration, is on our side. And they wrote this letter to the administration and said, if you regulate in the form that you put in that book, you're going to put 50% of this industry out of business. They ignored the advice of their own Small Business Administration. Our international partners, my staff back here, Cody Cardin and I have trounced through the embassies week in and week out, month in and month out, have a great coalition between the Dominican Republic, Honduras, Nicaragua, the leaf providers in Brazil and Ecuador and Mexico and Indonesia. We've been to them all. The first time in a unprecedented historic fashion, All 3 ambassadors from Honduras, Nicaragua, and the 300,000 direct jobs in 3 countries in a very politically and economically sensitive region. Not answered. Congressman Joe Courtney of Connecticut, the ranking member of the House Agriculture Committee, representing the Connecticut River Valley, wrote the Secretary of Agriculture this letter demanding an economic impact analysis on Connecticut tobacco farmers before the rules go forward. Wrote the letter on March 20th, 2014. Still waiting on an answer. Let's flash forward to today. During the primary season, our office issued an open letter to all the candidates for president. At the time, I think there was 100 or so. And now there are 3, and I include Governor Johnson in that equation. So last week, we reissued this open letter to the candidates for president, and we're going to hand deliver this to every campaign office they've got in the United States of America.
That's right.
This letter documents what this industry means to Tampa, to Miami, to New Orleans, to Little Havana in Miami, to the cigar shop in your neighborhood, what it means to your passion on your back porch. This letter tells them what the administration has done, the disastrous economic impact it can have on the over 35,000 jobs in the United States, the entire supply chain. It tells them what it means in terms of our international relationships. That regulation basically declares a trade war on Latin America, and it should not stand. So it's important that whoever occupies that end of Pennsylvania Avenue know exactly how every cigar smoker, how every cigar shop, how every cigar supplier, how every brand owner, how every manufacturer on this planet feels about that 499 pages of bureaucratic gibberish.
Cigar smoker.
So we're delivering this letter all over the country, and you can download it too. And when these people are asking for your vote, when those rallies are being held in your neighborhood and in your state, take this letter and put it in their staff's hands and say, the only way to get my vote is to agree with this letter.
That's right.
And while we're working on the presidency, we still got this window of opportunity with Congress behind us. You've got to go to that petition and play your part, not as a cigar smoker, but as a cigar voter for the first time in your life.
Amen.
We wouldn't get to this point, and this is where I'm going to take a time out for a little advertisement. We wouldn't be at this point if it weren't for the work of a dedicated group of staff and retained lobbyists. As I mentioned, this was the first time this industry's gone on offense. We have to raise over $1 million a year, and that goes out straight out the door to retainers that help us get our message across on this hill. And I can assure you, in this city, that's petty cash. If it weren't for the companies that I'm going to name, I'm just going to name because, and I'm going to explain the math on all this. If it weren't for these companies, we wouldn't be in a position today to even have this discussion. So we want to thank the Fuente Company, Oliva Cigar, Ashton Distributors, Padron, Rocky Patel, La Flor Dominicana, Davidoff USA, Alec Bradley, J.C. Newman, My Father, Perdomo, Placencia, Tatuaje, Ernesto Carello, Prometheus, CLE, Zachar and Casada, La Polina, Veliger, Christoph, Miami Cigar, Oliva Tobacco Company, Bovita, Gurkha, Blanco. Okay, we left Blanco on. God, I love him. 262 Cigars. Chinook Cellars. Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust. Caldwell. Sindicato and King Cigars. AJ Fernandez. Espinoza. PDR. Crowned Heads. Gabby Caffey. Cornelius and Anthony. Jesus Fuego. And El Galan. If it weren't for these folks, we could not have bankrolled the lobbying campaign that has taken place for the last 5 years. We'll cut that deal before we leave town. Folks, we got one more shot at Congress. One more. We have filed and refiled this legislation 3 different times with 3 different Congresses. One more shot. And then it's solely in the hands of the courts. There will be opportunities to try to shape and mold this with the FDA if they're willing to listen to our continued input. But getting that message across is an uphill battle. They've rejected our health quality data. They've rejected the economic data we have put in front of them. We've gone through 6 different briefings with the agency. We've gone through a half a dozen meetings at the White House. This ain't child's play. This is serious business. To protect one simple passion, one simple moment out of your day with a premium handmade cigar.
Love it.
Folks, now's the time. And if it weren't for a moment like this to get this message across to this plethora of cameras in front of us and the folks standing here behind us that came from 17 different states, we wouldn't even be in a position to have this argument, to have this discussion. That's what 5 years has happened. 5 years has culminated in this moment with you. Every one of you standing behind me. 5 years of work culminated in this moment. It's insane to think that somebody like David Blanco, Gabby Caffey, yeah, you Eddie, you too. It's insane to think that brand owners, from the ones that I named to the ones behind me, would have to submit a simple change in this cigar. Gabby walks up and says, you know what, I think I want to change the wrapper to give it a little tinge, little extra bite. Eddie decides, I want to change the filler or the binder in my cigar. David sits here and says, you know, I might want to change my packaging. And then all of a sudden they're forced to go through an entire bureaucratic process to put that new cigar on the market that's still the exact same weed, a wrapper and a binder and a filler that came out of the ground.
That's not right. That's right.
And I dare say, and I'm not putting words in their mouth, but the expense of doing it and complying with that document down there would probably put these 3 and many, many, many more out of business. We shouldn't stand for that as Americans, and we shouldn't stand for that as cigar smokers, and we shouldn't stand for that as a republic, for God's sake.
Libertad.
So folks, I know I've rambled a lot, but I wanted you to have this piece of history and where we are right now and where we've got to go over the next 5 months. So with that, hey, I want to recognize Tracy here with Rocky Patel. Before I close, I got to recognize this. Rocky is a machine, everybody knows that, and we couldn't have done it without the coalition of companies that are now scattered all about this platform. But Rocky, as a trained attorney, has been the manufacturer who we have put in front of the Senate Finance Committee to battle tax proposals. He went through over 30 hours of training for Rocky, but he went through over 30 hours of briefings and work in preparation with our consulting law firm in preparation for the Senate Finance Committee to help battle off new taxes, because I want to assure you of one thing, because this is an important footnote to all of this. We've spent this money for the last 5 years to build this coalition behind us, but that document is just the beginning. They've already promised that. They've already promised that as an agency, that they're going to come after us again. There's going to be advertising and marketing restrictions. There's going to be distribution restrictions. There's going to be manufacturing practice standards that are going to impose new costs on this industry. That document is just the beginning. So the coalition that we have all collectively built in this building behind me, the reason Big Tobacco can win 8 out of 10 political battles is because their machine is never off. Well, now ours is never off. We've got an office just on the other side of that building right over there. And I guarantee you, 7 days a week, I remember this distinctly, the night the rule came out, the last night we could do public comment, I kept Cody back here in the office till midnight so that he could fax last-minute comments from the public to the FDA before the deadline closed. That's the way we've got to think if we're going to protect this industry. The machine can never be off. Your attention span to protect this industry can never be off. It's that simple.
One more shot.
Thank you, folks.
Yeah!